Ladies and gentlemen, the statistics are chilling but well known. 30% married women in India face domestic abuse. 87% of them keep silent about it. Just look around you and you will hear the silence and see the abuse. Urban India, people who live in cities, mistakenly believe that domestic abuse is a class issue, that it's only the domestic helps who get beaten up at home. But ladies and gentlemen, when the high-profile wife of one of India's richest men speaks about being abused by her husband, the world sits up and takes notice. The news makes headline like it is making today. What was being whispered in the business circles of Bombay has been confirmed by none other than the chief protagonist of this story. Nawaz Modi, the estranged wife of Raymond's owner Gautam Singhania, has made some stunning claims to the media. She has told reporters on record that she was assaulted by her billionaire husband in a fit of rage on September 9th. She claims her husband didn't spare their minor daughter either. Nawaz Modi was speaking on the sidelines of a book launch. She claimed that this was the third instance of assault she suffered at the hands of her husband. When contacted by the Economic Times, Gautam Singhania refused to comment, saying that the dignity of his family is at stake. Mr. Singhania, whose net worth is pegged at $1.4 million or 12,000 crore rupees, announced the end of his 32-year-old marriage on Twitter earlier this month. This after a video of his wife accusing him of ill-treating his entire family, including her, went viral. It is reported that Nawaz Modi has demanded 75% of her husband's wealth. First, take a look at the video that exposed the discord in one of India's wealthiest families.
चंद्रकांत बोलिए, आपने हमको बाहर रखा है रेमंड के गेट के बाहर सबके सामने, ओके? और ये हमारा हाल किया है हमको यहाँ इनवाइट करने के बाद। ये थोड़ा ये भी टर्न करते हैं कि हमको भी देख सके लोग, ओके? आपको क्या बोलना है आप प्लीज बोलिए सबको, बताइए। आपको शर्म आ रही है यहाँ या आपको बहुत गर्व हो रहा है यहाँ काम करके? हमको यहाँ बुला के हमारे स्टिक के साथ, हमारे व्हील चेयर के साथ, हमारे बैक बेल्ट के साथ हमको 3 घंटे गाड़ी में बिठा के आपने हमारे ऊपर गेट बंद कर दिया है। यहाँ बहुत अच्छा लगता है, वेरी गुड, वेरी गुड। हाँ, सबका मुंह बंद करो, सबका मुंह बंद करो।
Nawaz says, and I'm quoting India Today now, I and Niharika, that is a minor daughter, were kicked and punched for what felt like 15 minutes unrelentingly. She was also asked by the reporter present why she didn't report the abuse to the police. To that she said, and I'm quoting her once again, "You get 3 years of rigorous imprisonment and hard labor, and the new domestic violence rules are so much more pro-victim than they used to be. It's much tighter. Why did I do it? Because I'm trying to save the unsavable. I was hoping he would do the right thing, settle us." My guest this evening, Swaty Malik, is a lawyer. She joins us on the broadcast. Manvi Taneja is an actress joining us on the broadcast. Dipti Nagrecha is an activist and founder of Unite Community, and Kapil Madan is a lawyer. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us. Swaty Malik, the fact is that Nawaz Modi has not given television interviews, but she has spoken to reporters on the sidelines of a book launch. And what she has said is something that we have put out for our viewers. In fact, I will request our producers to put what Nawaz Modi is saying on our screen so that our viewers know exactly what she's saying and we are not misquoted anywhere. Swaty, I want to ask you, we've just spoken about the statistics that 30% women in India, married women in India, suffer domestic abuse. But this is the wife of one of India's wealthiest and most high-profile businessmen. Tell me what you make of this entire saga that is going on and the fact that Nawaz Modi speaking to the press about her domestic violence situation, but she's refusing to go to the police. Is that something that is common?
Yeah, this is something that we never advise. You know, if she came to me, I would tell her to go to the police instead of going to the media. Now, while I believe, you know, whatever, I'm not questioning her story. I'm not questioning her pain. I'm not onto that. I'm only talking about the legal procedure here. It would make more sense. It would have better results if she actually went to the police, if she actually went to the court, because the system now is so robust. The domestic violence courts that we have, they are so effective now that in no time, I would say, no, obviously some like he will try and delay, as she says, but she will get better justice, more justice going to the court rather than going to media. But yes, I also see this as her only way of probably airing her, you know, her pain, and maybe that's why she's given this interview, because she's reached that stage now. But I really suggest that she go to the court instead of the media.
But Swati, she, in her own words, it seems, is not seeking justice. She is seeking a settlement. And there are reports in newspapers for the last 48 hours claiming that she has demanded 75% of Gautam Singhania's wealth. Is that why you think she may have decided against going to the police? Because it makes matters uglier, and then the entire divorce settlement gets ugly as well.
Well, Shreya, that I think by going to the press also, it's become a little, we are having this discussion today because she's gone to the media. Actually gone to court, actually gone to the mediation center. There's something called free litigation mediation that we have, which is, I mean, I highly advise that to all the people who are having any sort of issues rather. Instead of filing a court case, we seek mediation, and it's confidential. You talk it out there. I agree with you that going to court sometimes irks the other side, and that's how settlements fail. But here, giving this TV interview is not going to do her any benefit. It's not going to, give her any benefit. Instead, going to the court or even outside the court, apply for mediation, talk it out. It's only talking it out that is going to resolve her issue. Not going to the media, because the gentleman, as per her interpretation, I'm not even, as per her interpretation, he's not going to agree to a 75% or 11,000 crores just like that, right? He needs to be talked to, he needs to be explained to by a third party sometimes that, if you don't agree to what he's saying, or if you don't try and negotiate, it's going to make matters worse. Somebody needs to sit them down, a third party, a neutral party, needs to sit them down and explain the repercussions of going to court, actually. Let's just put it that way. Of not settling it outside the court or going to the court. She has many options. She can go to the, like I said, she has IPC, she has Domestic Violence Act, she has CRPC, where she can seek maintenance. So there are multiple options she has. While the gentleman here has only one option, that is to seek divorce, and of course, outside the court, try and block her out as much as he can. But at the end of the day, it's the two parties who have to sit and negotiate. So the sooner they do it, the better it is for them.
Dipti Nagrecha, you've seen the story play out as well. Swati is arguing that going to the press doesn't help. Speaking to the press doesn't help. You need to go to the police if this is a case of domestic violence, as you are claiming. Again, as I said, the Raymond's boss has refused to comment. We have sent him an email. Economic Times sent him an email, and he's responded saying that my family's dignity is at stake. Therefore, I would refrain from commenting. While we understand all of that, for someone in the situation of a Nawaz Modi, is it as easy to speak out as is being made out? I mean, there's a lot at stake. There are two girls at stake. There are two young girls at stake. And there is a 1.4 billion fortune at stake as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, go ahead.
I think it's very important for a woman to speak up, and it's very important that she expresses what's happened to her. And I think the first thing should be to going to the police.
But do you understand why 87% women who face domestic abuse in India don't go to the police or don't speak out?
I agree, but I think it's very important that there should be a lot of education given to women that what rights one woman holds, especially when I read about a child also being assaulted. I think it's very important for the mother to speak up, whether it be it media or going to the police. But I think the first thing is right to education, what you have as an Indian, right? We all women, men today, all women especially have a lot of rights as being a citizen of our country. And it's very important to speak up. And I think we all need to grow above these society norms that are put up. And very, very high elite family women are also facing this. But like you rightly said, 87% of women fear of what will the society think, what will the outcome be, should I really do this? But I think we all need to really stand up for ourselves. We are in the 21st century today, and we really need to speak up what we are going through. And I think
she's completely aware. She's completely aware of the law. Her father is a very high-profile lawyer, so she's completely aware of the law. And she's educated. She's a fitness trainer. She knows what the law is, and she knows that the domestic violence law is a very strict one. If she files a complaint, her husband will be in jail for 3 years. Manvi Taneja, what do you make of the situation that is playing out in the Singhania family? Look, here at Mirror Now, we are not interested. We are not interested in making this a salacious debate. That's really not the intent. The only reason why we decided to talk about it is there's an angle of domestic violence that has come in, where the wife of a billionaire is claiming that her husband, the MD of Raymond's, has assaulted her and the daughter, not on one occasion, but at least on 3 occasions. Yes, she should have filed a complaint, but she has decided not to, maybe because she wants a peaceful settlement.
See, if you ask me, somewhere I feel that she's playing a woman victim card, because being a woman, she knows that the ball is in her court. Whatever she says, court or people will do have sympathy with her. But somewhere I feel that it is the matter of money. Money is involved in it, because if you hear from being a normal person, if you hear such situation like this, there is a possibility that 2 or 3 things come into your mind. One is that she is putting up allegation that too after 32 years of marriage. Just imagine, after 32 years of marriage, she's been facing domestic violence. She is quiet. Her father is a high-profile lawyer, and she's contradicting her own statement. On one hand, she's quiet. She's not filing a complaint. On the other hand, everything is open on social media platforms. She is just trying to gain sympathy from people, just like us. As now we are debating, everyone is on her side. Nobody wants to know the other side of the story. And secondly, the amount what she is asking for is 75% of Singhania's net worth. It clearly shows up that the whole drama is set up just to grab certain kind of attention from media, sympathy from people, and so that she ends up getting a handsome alimony.
Kapil Madan, is that how you see it? Do you see this as a woman playing the victim card? Here's my point. She gains nothing by playing the victim card. Her family is breaking up after 32 years. She has had a high-profile marriage. On the outside, it looked happy till these allegations and that video emerged. There are 2 daughters whose future has to be considered. Does she gain anything by playing the victim card? Or do you see this as a situation where a woman has been pushed to the corner and has no option but to speak out and say, I need to walk out of this marriage with my dignity intact?
Now, Shreya, I will not make any personal comment, but what I will talk about is purely law and how the system works. Now, what happens in these kind of cases is that if someone is facing any kind of domestic abuse, the fact that you don't report the domestic abuse to the concerned authorities well in time is a very significant factor that is always considered by the court in ascertaining whether the allegation of domestic violence are correct or the allegation of domestic violence are not correct. So the fact remains that here is a party who is well educated, who is active in her own life. It is unbelievable, or the circumstances does not reflect or show that there would be any kind of impediment for her to report if she was subjected to domestic violence. So that's point number 1. Now, the if someone is facing a domestic violence, then the first response system of that particular individual or the victim should be to ensure her safety, to ensure that the incidence of domestic violence does not continue, and to some extent also get some sort of maintenance or a monetary order from the court that will ensure that during this continuation of these proceedings, you will be able to lead the same standard of life which you were used to while you were in your marriage. Now, the point remains, if there is no adjudication on domestic violence, where is the question of what's the amount you are entitled to get? I mean, there could be a situation where, the marriage have irretrievably broke down without there being any kind of malice, without there being any kind of, violence in that marriage. These things also happens. In that situation, the parties, try to part their ways, and all that is required to be done in that kind of situation is to agree on the terms of the divorce. And in that situation, of course, there could be discussion on what will be the quantum of alimony, how will be the properties of the parties will be split. I can understand that. But if someone is trying to make an allegation that there is a domestic violence, and because of domestic violence the person is going out of the marriage, the first thing that needs to be considered and decided by the court is whether there is any kind of authenticity, there is any kind of truth in the allegation which the person is making or not.
Okay. Swaty Malik, as someone who looks at these cases closely, who deals with family and family law closely, can I ask you whether you have a deeper understanding on why women continue to stay in marriages despite domestic abuse? In this case, the Modis have been married. Nawaz Modi and Gautam Singhania have been married for what, 32 years. She has told reporters on the sidelines that the first instance of abuse actually happened very early in their marriage. Do we understand, a lot of people can turn around and say, agar itne samay se ho raha tha, why did you decide to continue in the marriage? You obviously continued to stay in the marriage because the perks were great. Now, that's an uncharitable way of looking at it, but that is what the talk is going to be. I want to ask you if you have a better understanding of why women stay in marriages despite this abuse.
Shreya, women most of the time, okay, I know 95%, 90% of the time, women stay in an abusive marriage because of our social conditioning. Divorce is a bad word, no matter what part of society you are from. Whether you are from, from the upper middle class or the high society, lower economic class, whichever class it may be, nobody wants the divorce word, the D word for their children, for their daughters mostly. And that is the social conditioning women are raised with. So they try and put up, and into the whole, there's so many factors, but yes, this social conditioning is the most important factor that women choose to continue in an abusive marriage. Second is gaslighting. Women are taught that you are never right because the husband is always you are never right because the husband is never wrong. So gaslighting becomes a very relevant factor again. They just continue, and when you say about economic benefits or people stay in the marriage because of the benefits, well, there are women who've stayed on in abusive marriage because of the finances. Because they know if they go out, they will not be supported by their own families, or they're not working, or they don't have the capacity to raise their children with them in a manner that the children will be raised in the house, even if it's the abusive husband. So people stay on for their children. People stay on to avoid divorce because it's a bad word, and people stay in bad marriages because of lack of support from their own families. But if you would notice now, the more and more younger generation is more open to parting ways if they're not getting along, because women are economically much more sound now. They're all working, they're independent, right? And to say that because she didn't report for all these years, it's all a drama for higher alimony. I'm sorry, that is the saddest explanation for this woman who's spoken. Like I said, I'm not supporting her or supporting the husband. I'm not supporting anyone. But here, I know as a matter of fact, women take years and years of convincing themselves to be able to speak up. I've had clients who've come to me at the age of 64, 65, while they've continued in that marriage for 35, 40 years. And the reason being is children. The reason being is, where would I go? The reason being is, what would my father say? Reason being is that ek thappad hi to mara tha. Right? So these are the reasons women continue. And if, trust me, another 50 years or 40 years, the next generation or the generation after ours is going to be much more vocal about the rights. It's going to be much more vocal about self-care. And that is what is missing currently. And that is why they continue. Not because they are benefiting from, and it's a drama to get a higher alimony. No way.
Kapil Madan, it's also ironical, as I wrap this chat, I want you to offer your last comments. It's also ironical that it is not Nawaz Modi that actually sought the divorce. The separation was publicly announced by Gautam Singhania on Twitter after that video of his wife went viral. All right. Manvi, would you want to take that? Would you want to take that question? The fact is that it is not, okay. The point I was making is that it is therefore ironical, and I want your views on this. It is therefore ironical that it was not the lady in question. It was not Nawaz Modi who actually initiated the divorce. The separation was actually announced by her husband after that video went viral.
See, in this case, she would have been quiet, because as I was listening to you, that you said that she was into a domestic abuse in initial year of her marriage. She was quiet. She should go through a right procedure, right channel. If she is facing some problem, she should raise her voice. She should file a complaint, maybe discuss with the immediate family, and then come to a conclusion if she wants to divorce. And see, here Singhania has done it very polishly, and he was very polished in his answer, and he refused to answer any of the media question or anyone who was asking. But I would like to comment one thing that you can see in CRB data. There is 4 times, the ratio is 4 times higher of false cases for dowry, domestic violence, assault, rather than if you compare it with the normal cases, because it is the men who suffer at last. It is not women, because people have sympathy with the women, as you can see the panel. They all have, they don't want to listen to the other side of the story. If you have 10 seconds, I would like to quote one thing. I would like to refer. The same thing happened with Nawazuddin Siddiqui. Yeah, see, I could see a video wherein she's sitting outside a gate, and a video is created and it's circulated on social media website. And the similar thing happened with Nawazuddin Siddiqui, maybe 1 or 1.5 years back, wherein she's crying and she's saying that nobody's letting me in. But later on, Nawazuddin's lawyer stated that she has given a house. She owns her own house. This is just to gain some sympathy. I'm just trying to relate these things. So let the court decide. If she wants a settlement, she should go through a right procedure and a channel, not to create a drama in front of everything, because at last I would say everything is only the money she's looking for, and jo dusre ki dignity hai, that is gone for a toss.
Swati, any last comments to answer, because there will be that side. Look, the fact is that that this divorce is now being fought in in the public forum. Everyone is talking about it. It's making newspaper headlines. It's all over social media as well. One side at least has decided to speak about it. How do you view the comments that will come that look, as when it comes to women, many times there are false complaints for dowry that are registered. There are false complaints of domestic violence that are registered. And Swati, we have to agree that if there are the genuine concerns and the genuine cases, there are those fake cases as well that are registered against men, and that you need to see it from the view of both parties. Although in this case, if the allegations are true, I don't know what the other side can be.
A broken back of her fitness she's known for fitness. A broken back, that talks a lot. She talked about hernia. Again, I don't want to make it about this case particularly, but I do agree there are false cases. I'm not denying the fact. But I also want to point out the number of cases which go unreported. If you're going to talk about false cases, you also have to talk about cases which are not reported, where women have not had the courage to speak up, where they still don't feel that power within themselves. What about them? Just to say that these are false cases, listen to both sides. Of course, both sides should be listened to. For not for a second am I denying the right of Mr. Singhania to come and defend himself or put his side of the story. But if he chooses to be quiet, if he chooses to remain quiet, then we will have to believe one side, which we are being spoken about. Secondly, like you said, he's the one who made it public. She didn't go public. He went public. She had all the reasons, even by her story, she had all the reasons to go public much before, but she didn't. So when we talk about drama, when we talk about dignity, and when we talk about the panelists just said, somebody else's dignity is being harmed and it's all for money. I'm glad Modi ji is, discontinued 2,000 crores, otherwise they would be flashing here today. But, it is not about the money. It is about respect. It is about self-respect. And even when there's a settlement agreement, when there's a settlement being negotiated, there's only one thing that both the sides should keep in mind. That is, it doesn't have to, settlements are never to put the other one, to punishment. It's not to torture the other side. It is to be respectable. If you are going to be, it's going to be a respectable amount. So if you're going to be respectful and respectable towards me, that's how you would expect me to be the same towards you. But if you disrespect me, I am sorry, I am not going to extend that kind of respect. So here when Nawaz Modi did not speak up, but the gentleman went ahead and tweeted, what a forum. Twitter to explain his separation. She took it on herself. So I'm not blaming her, but I really wish she gets good legal advice. Her father's a lawyer. I really wish she goes to the court or she goes to the police or some sort of a forum where she can negotiate with him, where we can discuss and finally reach a settlement. That is what I really advise and I really suggest for.
So, Swaty, reports indicate that she has Bombay's best lawyers, this country's best lawyers at her behest. And on the other side, there are some stellar lawyers working as well. So there is a mediation effort that is underway. Ladies and gentlemen, I again want to make it very clear. We did try and reach out to Nawaz Modi. In fact, we've been trying to reach out to her for the last 1 week. She has declined to speak, and we respect that. If she doesn't want to speak about this publicly, we respect that. We have tried to reach out to Gautam Singhania as well. We've not had a response from him, but we've put out both sides for you. For the moment, Swaty Malik, we leave it there for the moment. Thank you very much. Manvi Taneja, thank you very much. Dipti, thanks. And Kapil Madan, thank you very much as well. On that note, I'm slipping into a